Clash Mini. Whew, haven't heard from you in half a year. Jesus, that was a long time ago. And 6 months ago, I promised you all that I would give you news about Clash Mini as soon as I heard of it. But the simple reality is there is zero news about this, which is somewhat disappointing and makes me a bit worried. So today, after exactly half a year since Clash Mini was announced to be finished, I decided to bring you the rise, the cancellation, and the possible future of Clash Mini. Hope you enjoy. So let's start from the beginning. Just a quick recap in case you don't know what Clash Mini is. Clash Mini is Supercell's attempt on an auto chess battler. You place your minis, your hero, and then you satisfyingly watch them kill each other. Very strategic, not gonna lie. Clash Mini had the perfect balance between being basic to understand the game but being complex to master it, which was just beautiful. And people were excited about this game. And you can see because this game broke the record of reaching 1 million downloads the fastest, reaching it in only 3 days, which is pretty crazy. So, with that being said, we got the Clashmas update after 1 month, which brought 1 new hero and 2 new minis. Pretty cool, a bunch of balance changes as well, which I love balance changes. And then after 3 months, we got Wave Master and 4 new minis. And we also got raid bosses, which was a big problem because they felt pretty grindy and they would receive a lot of changes over time. Then, after 2 months, we got Skeleton King and the Royal Ghost, which were both pretty weak on release. And we also got the Trophy Roads, which was an extra to the progression, which felt really nice and it was very pretty, and they also introduced the Supercell ID, which was really good as well. After 3 months, we received the update 4, which was the single most mediocre update. Pretty much all that the update brought got removed in the next update, and all of the rest that it added was pretty much useless, which, as you can guess, was pretty bad for the game. Their excuse was that they were preparing themselves for the update 5, and boy was update 5 something big. It completely changed the hero progression, and it also brought a bunch of new abilities to the heroes, which was really good. And it brought a lot of new boards, music, it brought emotes, which was really good, and it brought a bunch of new skins. And most importantly, it brought gizmos, which were pretty much buildings that you could get by upgrading your minis during the battle. Gizmos were pretty broken and they felt a bit out of place. And also, there was gambling.
Oh, dang it.
Let me tell you, gambling was probably the death of Clash Mini. And Update 5 was their first try on gambling, and it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I'm not gonna get into details, just know that it was disgusting. Other than that very horrible casino experience, the update was really good. It brought a lot of new versatility to the game, and after 3 months after that somewhat amazing update, we got update 6, which was another really good update. New hero, new mini, and most importantly, events. Damn, was the community excited by events. Double hero draft was amazing. Just being able to combine 2 heroes felt so good, and also the board was larger to the sides, which just gave you so much space. It was beautiful. It really was beautiful. Honestly, update 6, in my opinion, was my favorite update for Clash Mini, for real. But we were about to receive the largest update within 2 months, which was the no movement update. It was extremely crazy to think suddenly Clash Mini without movement, but in general it was very well done, because the extras that you would get, more elixir in case you lost the battle, and they also added Frenzy mode, which was pretty good, but Frenzy did have its flaws. And also, they removed gizmos, which, again, as I said, gizmos felt pretty overpowered, but to kinda compensate them, there were now magic tiles. And magic tiles were very weird because some of them wouldn't change much the game. It was just a heal over time, or maybe just give some energy at the start. But there were others that were absolutely broken. Some of them you needed to change completely your strategy just in order to be able to win because of the magic tile itself. So the no movement parts, very good. It was very healthy for the game. Friends in time, kind of the middle term. It gave a massive advantage to long-range units over the close-range ones, and also characters that relied on their supers. And gizmos being removed pretty good, but magic tiles, were they a big deal? It was pretty weird to work with them. It was also during this update that we got two new heroes, the Grand Warden and the Pink Fury, and we also got then the Dagger God. All of them pretty strong during release if I remember correctly. And then we started getting a lot of balance changes over the current 5 months. And then we got Clash Mini 2.0. It was the final update of Clash Mini. It was pretty clear that, by the way it was presented to us, that if Clash Mini didn't succeed on that update, it would be cancelled. During this time, I think Clash Mini also reached 2 years of being in beta, which was the longest any Supercell game had been on beta, which was a pretty big deal. And Update 8 was a big failure, and there are a lot of reasons to it. To start off, it brought gambling again. No! Why did they do that? Gambling was a failure, absolutely. And honestly, if I had to say, this gambling that they applied on Update 8 was even worse than Season 5, because Season 5 gambling didn't felt mandatory. It was only to get some new emotes or skins. But the gambling of Update 8 was fundamentally necessary to get the strongest minis, which was all part of the new progression system. Now all of the heroes and minis were into sets. Imagine the sets kinda like arenas, and you need at least 7 of the 8 minis from one set to go to the next set. And with that being said, you would get more heroes and more minis over time. The idea was good, the execution was gambling pretty much. Gambling was horrible. We also had special minis or whatever they were called, which had a special type of gambling, which was even worse. Gambling was all over the place. It was honestly pretty bad. Besides the gambling, we got classes, which was pretty good. There were a lot of classes, and classes were really big deals actually. To the point where some people were actually wondering if classes should be that important. But at least in my opinion, classes felt pretty natural, so I had no big problems with them. Then we also got the hero progression being completely reworked, because now you would upgrade each character, actually including the minis as well, to get just bonus emotes of the mini itself. Like it would appear an emote above the mini or hero whenever they activated the super or killed someone. It was sort of weird and didn't felt very natural, but it was the new progression. Also, heroes were now completely different during combat. Now the hero would have its base ability, and you would have to choose from the 3 abilities to spend elixir on which extra ability would you want. And this was a very controversial choice. On one hand, heroes had more versatility and you could customize them in a certain way during battle. The problem was this upgrade also gave them bonus stats, so you needed to give that upgrade to them. They could only be upgraded once, so you would not have a 3-star hero. And also this meant that the heroes would be overall less versatile, because now they would not be able to have 3 abilities at the same time, which I felt pretty sad honestly about that. but at least the new abilities were pretty cool, so not the end of the world. There were also some big changes to how the battle started. Now you would have a baseline position for the hero, and now you could actually once per battle swap your hero with a mini, which brought an extra layer of complexity to the battle, which was really good. But even with all of these changes, we got balance changes over time, and we got new minis over time as well. We got a lot of new minis actually. We got like 16 new minis, all of them pretty cool. But again, the gambling melted the game from the inside. Also, there were a little bit of problems with some classes, because some of the classes require minis that you needed gambling to get them. So sometimes the best classes, you actually needed gambling to get to them, which was horrible. And for around 4 months, we got balance changes after balance changes, until in 6th of February, we got the last patch of balance changes. People were expecting Clash Mini to go global, a final global update, and then everything would be fine. Remove the gambling, everyone would stay happy. But unfortunately, Clash Mini got cancelled. And now I'm gonna talk about a little bit why it got cancelled, and a little bit of a couple of theories, may I say.
Hey, that's just a theory!
It felt pretty weird the way Supercell handled Clash Mini, because they said that they believed in the game, and because of that they were gonna put the game inside Clash Royale, which again, we haven't got any type of news yet, which I'll talk later. And at the same time, they decided to kill the game, and there were good reasons for it. And if I had to say, it was the free-to-play tactic that Clash Mini tried. Clash Mini with Update 8 tried to be as free-to-play as possible, but at the same time, because of gambling, the game never felt more pay-to-win. Like, you would need to spend a crazy amount of money to get the account maxed. Now, some of you might say, well, that's maybe because we're not supposed to spend that money. And you are not totally wrong, but again, the gambling had such a massive factor in everything. It was just that crazy. And the fact that the minis that you needed with the help of gambling were the strongest, it just made it look even worse. And because of the free-to-play way that Clash Mini tried, the game was not making enough money, and the game really needed that money. So if I had to say, it was Update 8 had the most problem with it, but at the same time, I also blame the start of Clash Mini. For example, Squad Busters had 2 temporary betas, and maybe Clash Mini should have tried that way as well, because pretty much in the first year or so, we didn't get any changes. And maybe just make so that the first beta would be just the baseline game, then make the update 3 has the second beta, and then make the public beta the update 5, and just go from there. A little bit how Squad Buster handled the situation, because in the first year we pretty much didn't had any new gameplay content. We only really got it after update 5 with Gizmos and update 7 with the no movement, which were both really good updates. So with all of this being said, I feel like Clash Mini got killed because it took too long, and unfortunately that final update was just way too controversial in terms of making money. And finally, we're gonna talk about Clash Mini's future, which right now we have zero news about it, besides the fact that Clash Mini will be introduced into Clash Mini. Honestly, I saw a dude's video about how Clash Mini should be introduced to Clash Royale, and honestly it is a great complementary video to what I'm about to say, so I highly recommend you to watch that video. The link of has many Clash Mini YouTubers as I can possibly found, will be in the description as an honor, I'll say. And subscribe to all of them, and while at it, you can subscribe to me as well if you feel like. So, right now I see two major options about why they're not saying anything, and at the same time why they should be saying things. So let's start with the more negative one. So why I feel like they should not try to say anything. For the simple fact that Clash Mini, it is a completely different game from Clash Royale. Imagine reintroducing an entire game into another one without messing both of them. Like, it is a very tricky job because managing two games inside of one, at least from what I have heard, feels like a true headache. Like, it must be really tough. So it makes some sense that in 6 months they are still trying to figure out technical issues within the game. The second thing is that they're probably gonna do changes to the game. I am pretty much 100% sure that Clash Royale will change Clash Mini, and I would say at least most of the progression system. Geez, we don't even know if Clash Royale and Clash Mini will share the same progression system. So it can be very tricky to manage how will you upgrade in Clash Royale and how does that influence you upgrading in Clash Mini. Will Clash Mini just be an event or something, or will it be like, for example, like Goblin's Queen Journey? Well, I guess that's the best case scenario, honestly, but it is what it is. Like, it comes a lot on how much does the Clash Royale team wants to change Clash Mini. If they already even introduce Clash Mini into their game, because I am pretty sure that they are gonna make their pay-to-win magic over there and give us a 2,000 times value. Oh yeah. You know what, let's just straight up re-add gambling! Next we have why it should be introduced faster than what it sounds like it is being introduced right now. So the first thing is, it's the same game engine. As again, they mentioned in one of their Discord things, there are 40 of them and they all have 3 hours. I have no idea which one was, I am definitely sorry. But like, in one of them they mentioned that Clash Royale and Clash Mini were made in the same engine. And that means that the code language should be the same. And that obviously makes the process of transferring Clash Mini to Clash Royale a lot easier. With this being said, this even means that all of the bugs, for example True Red and True Blue, that exist in Clash Mini should be able to be fixed by the Clash Royale dev team, at least makes some sense to me. Also, in terms of hyping Clash Mini coming back, I do not think that they should make the game faster, but I feel like they should give news about the game a lot faster. Because, I mean, if Clash Mini reached 1 million downloads in 3 days, I am pretty sure that there could be people downloading Clash Royale back just to be able to play Clash Mini. I am pretty sure that at least a couple of people would do that for sure. So it would make also sense to give some advertisement to hype Clash Mini's return. And thirdly, we need to talk about possibly competition. Like, let me explain. The gimmick with Clash Mini, it is perfect. The gameplay is amazing. The problem is pretty much everything else. Supercell has in their hands right now a very powerful game, I would say. It just came down to execution. But now they need to worry about other games that might try to copy Clash Mini. Like, for example, Tricky Tactics. Tricky Tactics, I already heard of it, and it pretty much is a Clash Mini copy. But the thing is, they're trying actually to make the game good and unique, and they're trying to develop a community. So, if they actually succeed on doing that, that means that Supercell might potentially lose a lot of money if the game becomes very successful, and then Clash Mini becomes somewhat useless. And we need to question which one do we want? Because I see 4 possible futures on Tricky Tactics versus Clash Mini. If Tricky Tactics comes out first, and if it is very good, then I would say that Tricky Tactics might steal some of the spotlight that Clash Mini would have. Then we have second option. If Tricky Tactics comes out and it is not successful, then Clash Mini will probably have a way much easier way of pulling people towards their game if Clash Mini is better than Tricky Tactics. Then we have option number 3, which is if Clash Mini releases before Tricky Tactics, but Clash Mini is worse than Tricky Tactics. And I will say, depending on how bad it would be, people would most likely stay with Clash Mini because it is the image, the game that they already know. So it would not make much sense to give up on something that they already know for another game that it is pretty much a copycat just because it is a little bit better. It would need a drastic quality gap for people to prefer Tricky Tactics if Tricky Tactics was released after Clash Mini. And the final option, which is I would say the most obvious, it is Clash Mini being better than Tricky Tactics and being released first, which by what I am seeing also on Tricky Tactics Discord server, I will say all of these options are pretty viable. Right now, I don't think there is a most likely one or a least likely one to happen. All of them are at game. Clash Mini, we have zero news about it, and Tricky Tactics already released their first beta, and from what I watched, it is pretty similar to Clash Mini, but the game still needs a lot of polishing. So, it can be anyone's game pretty much. That's why I think that not hyping the game and just waiting like this in the dark could potentially be very bad for the game depending on success of Tricky Tactics. But this is a really secondary option because in the end what I think will matter for most of us is that Clash Mini comes back at full strength and better than ever. That's what we all want. We all, Clash Mini players, just want to see our little boy back. Like, it has been 6 months, it's actually crazy. Really crazy. So, yeah. That will do for today's video. Watch some Clash Mini gameplay if you don't know what Clash Mini is. Go to all of the other Clash Mini content creators' YouTube channel. You might find there something that you like about Supercell's games. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening me. Thank you for giving a chance to Clash Mini. And I'll see ya on the next video.